Forget everything you think you know about serial killers, because this man wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was wearing a badge, a police officer trusted by the public, while secretly terrorizing entire neighborhoods at night. He didn't just break into homes. He studied you, watched you, planned every move, and by the time you realized something was wrong, it was already too late. Welcome to Truthful, where real stories are darker than fiction. Today's story is not just disturbing, it's deeply unsettling. Because this is the story of a man who lived a double life for years, a protector by day, and a nightmare by night. Let's dive into the story. Forget everything you think you know about serial killers. Most of them are loners living in basements. But Joseph James DeAngelo was different. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, hiding behind a police badge in Auburn, California. In the mid-70s, the Central Valley was his playground. He started as the Visalia Ransacker, a high-energy prowler who broke into over 100 homes just to mess with people's heads before he graduated to cold-blooded murder. This guy was a tactical freak. He'd spend weeks casing a neighborhood, learning the sleep cycles of families, and even breaking into homes before the crime just to unlock windows or hide the bullets from the homeowner's gun. He would often plant escape kits, like bicycles or stolen clothes in nearby bushes to ensure a clean getaway. His police training gave him a god complex, allowing him to mock the very investigators who were hunting him down. While the community held a town hall meetings to discuss the fear, DeAngelo was likely in the back of the room, silently taking notes on their panic. When he finally struck, he wasn't just a thief, he was a psychological terrorist. By the time he moved down to Sacramento as the East Area Rapist, he had an entire state sleeping with shotguns under their pillows. The reign of the original Night Stalker. By the time the 80s rolled around, DeAngelo had moved his theater of horror to Southern California, terrorizing places like Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Orange County. This is where he earned the terrifying moniker, the original Night Stalker. His crimes were a masterclass in sadism. He didn't just kill, he lingered. He would stay in a victim's house for hours, raiding their fridge and drinking their beer while his victims lay bound and gagged in the next room. Listening to him clink the silverware, he would often take personal souvenirs, wedding rings, driver's licenses, and jewelry, not for the money, but to keep as trophies of his dominance. He had a bizarre habit of leaving the porch lights on, or the television blaring, a chilling signal to the neighbors that something horrific was happening inside. His ability to vanish into the dark was so consistent that locals began to believe they were dealing with a supernatural entity rather than a man. One of the most bone-chilling details? He once called a victim years later on her private phone line, whispering, "I'm gonna kill you," just to prove he was still out there, watching from the shadows. While DeAngelo was living his best life, retiring from a 27-year career as a mechanic in Citrus Heights, taking his boat out to the lake, and shouting at kids to stay off his lawn, the world of science was catching up to him. The breakthrough didn't come from a fingerprint or a witness. It came from a DNA dragnet. Investigators took a leap of faith and used investigative genealogy. A tech so new it was practically sci-fi. They uploaded his DNA to GEDmatch, a site where regular people find their long-lost cousins. The search led them to a family of distant relatives in the Midwest, and like a digital bloodhound, the detectives tracked the genetic scent across generations. They spent months secretly following DeAngelo, watching him live the life of an ordinary grandfather, while they waited for a single piece of discarded evidence. The tension was at a breaking point. If he realized they were watching, he might have finished his story with one final violent act. When the Sacramento Sheriff's Department finally swiped a discarded tissue from his trash can, the lab results were a biological gotcha. The moment they cuffed him in his driveway, the 72-year-old monster's only response was, "I have a roast in the oven." He tried to play the frail old man card in court, but the survivors saw right through the act. He's now rotting in a 6x9 cell at Corcoran State Prison, stripped of his power, while the world finally knows the name of the man who turned the California dream into a nightmare. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. Truthful, take care, bye.